Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, and yes, even you aliens who might be watching these broadcasts spread through the glorious galaxy at the speed of light. Today I'm sore, exhausted, and just a little bit flustered as I bring you the review for Onikiri, which I'm about 100% sure I'm pronouncing wrong, but 90% sure I don't give a shit. Listen, I've always wanted a llama that spits gold doubloons, but it's not gonna happen, so a second best wish in my life is a 2D scrolling adventure game with the protagonist loaded down with enough weapons and cool moves to actually make the saying, a good offense is your best defense, a complete reality. Onikiri is the story of demons, undead, dragons, warriors, fiery tentacles, and boss creatures with eyes on their stomachs all being taken down by a hero with a complete lack of caring about gravity or cleaning up the massive mess he leaves behind. Mizaki, a dragon that decided being inside a man and riding him around like a human horse sounded like a good idea, flips, slashes, bangs, busts, cuts, flings, smashes, and eviscerates the enemies set down by the evil lord Keromo, who at some time in the unknown past grabbed a dragon out of thin air and shoved it down his gullet because eating giant scaled things sounded fun to him, and a bonus was he became damn near immortal. Let's see how this rolls. And always remember, this review is caffeinated, which means spewing spirals of speech impediment-like sentences with no pause for structure or silence. Graphics are up first. As a 2D game, you have to expect a certain look, and I have to admit it fits right in there with some of the best of them. Lighting is cosmic, with a dreary, almost blurry look to some backgrounds, and the sun wicks through sickly trees all over the game world. Excellent lighting effects. Fire effects are used throughout the game in various places and have this ethereal look to them that even if they do slow down the frame rate a smidge, looks really good. Animations are top-notch, with the main character being animated perfectly and having a really cool driving, running animation that lends weight to the character wearing a boatload of armor and carrying weapons of mass destruction all over his body. Every attack is animated incredibly well, and the boss enemies laser smash, slash, and slap you around with really excellent fluidity. If I banged on one thing in this game, it would have to be that the frame rate can take a hit when environmental effects start to fill the screen, though at the same time it helps a bit because the game also floods the screen with enemies at times, like it's in a race to fill up the valuable memory in your computer because it thinks it would be cool to just see what happens. The levels are an outstanding mix of platforming, burning, sprinting, and double jumping affairs, and exploring them is actually a real pleasure. Overall, I would say excellent. Sound, music, and voice. The sound of the weapons are excellent, with clubs slamming down onto enemies with a great low end, while the clang of weapons bouncing off enemies' armor alerts you to what you're doing and if you're doing something wrong. Everything is done well and alerts you to gameplay moments just as much as the visuals do. This is the kind of thing that a 2D game needs to succeed. Music. The music, man, it's phenomenal. Simply amazing. Driving and reckless, it takes no prisoners and never lets up. Nothing sedate here. The music does its best every second to remind you that the game isn't about collecting plants in an open world or talking to mud crabs. It's a race to see the insides of your enemies as quickly as possible. However, a bug really hampered my enjoyment of the game. Every time I died, the music stopped playing until I either died again or completed the level. That was great to get a good earful of the sound effects for the review, but the music, when it is playing, is simply unstoppable, and when it wasn't playing, the levels actually felt a bit barren without it. Overall, excellent music, but it did have a bug. Voice. None, so it's great. Or bad, whichever you want to go with. Gameplay, the big dog. It's a 2D game where you run through levels, leap across obstacles, face an assortment of ever-growing enemies, and try to take down the almost immortal bad guy with your also ever-growing assortment of weapons. As you gain new weapons, every button on your controller becomes vital, with triggers, bumpers, and everything else being used in battle. The game isn't for the faint of heart, as it grades you on combos, and is actually fairly fucking hard. The weapons are awesome and have combos of their own, as well as being instantly switchable to combo with others. Controlling the enemies in a flow that works to kill them the quickest is the name of the game here. As you progress, you begin to unlock new moves and get more health to add to your somewhat meager life bar, and trust me, you will need it. Additionally, you can go into battle arenas, or death boxes as I began to call them, to defeat foes in a timed battle where your fingers will give out in agony long before the game will stop spawning bad guys. Now, currently you can't save, so this game is basically big boy mode right now, and I'm not sure that was even planned, so keep that in mind. However, since the option isn't even there, it's my assumption the developers were sitting around a table and someone said, "Hey guys, how do you save?" and everyone grabbed him and tossed him out the window, as one does with cowards. The game does have one wicked bug for me. The menu screen doesn't show up once you're in the game, so I'm not sure what you can do in the menu, but since the buttons seem hard-coded, and so does the difficulty, I'm assuming the choices are probably the following: quit like a wussy, keep going fool, and please God turn the music back on. Fun factor: off the fucking charts. No, seriously, I am not the number one fan of 2D scrolling games, but goddamn, this game is pure crack. Every time I failed, I reassessed the situation and had to hold my own hand like I was praying because the game doesn't do it for you. But what it does do is slowly give out upgrades, moves, and weapons to take out ever-growing enemies, and it's this almost perfect balance of difficulty and reward. It is simply phenomenal fun. So I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or chop suey the damn thing into a billion parts and fling it into the eyes of your enemy's rating scale. At $4.99 on Steam, this is a buy, and it is early access, so you always need to remember that. Hell, it's almost a buy twice. Even though the game is early access, has a bug or two, and doesn't pat you on the back and take you by the hand, it is pure fun in 2D form, and goddamn if I'm not altogether happier for it. Even if I felt a tinge of despair whenever I died, not because I would go through the level again, but because that damn awesome music had stopped. So that's it. The review is over. If you liked the video, hit like. If you disliked it, hit dislike. And always remember the age-old rule: kill first and never ask questions. Peace.